Hello, I'm back with another video on how to quickly do wires in Blender with only using 3 simple cylinders. Okay, let's start. Let's delete the default cube and hit Shift A and then M on your keyboard, and then we're going to add a cylinder, and let's scale it down a bit. Doesn't really matter how much. Then GX. Actually, tab into edit mode and go to top view, hit GX to move to the side, then hit duplicate and then X, then move it over here. Alright, I'm gonna apply rotation rotation/scale even though I don't need to. And I guess I'll rotate it on its side just for fun. And apply the rotation. To do that, you hit Control A. Then if you want to apply the rotation, you hit R. If you want to apply the scale, you hit S. Or if you hit Control A, you can just select them here. I'm going to make all these a bit longer. And alright. And I accidentally forgot a step. So delete this cylinder and hit Control R on your keyboard and then scroll your middle mouse wheel up a bit. This is making a loop cut, and basically what this is when the wire bends, these are gonna be like the edges that it bends on. If you don't know what I mean by when I say that, I'll show you later in the video. Now, if it looks good, you can hit Enter on your keyboard twice, and then if you see this little icon up here, you can click it and select 3D cursor, because that's the pivot point. If you see, if I rotate it on the y-axis, it rotates around the cursor, but I don't want to do that. I'm going to hit Shift D to duplicate, then Control M, and then X, which what I just did is I duplicated the mesh and then I mirrored it using the cursor's location. Now that I have that, I'm just going to get another cylinder by hitting Shift A, M, and then Y. If you can learn these hotkeys in Blender, it'll really be good in the long run, because if you see these words with a line underneath them, that's the first, for example, when I added the cylinder, you can see that cylinder has a Y, so if I hit Y on my keyboard, it makes cylinder. So that can just be a good tool to learn. Now let's just scale it down properly like this. Actually, I'm going to move it on the x-axis over here, and then I'm gonna scale it up a bit on the y-axis by hitting S, Shift Y. I'm gonna scale it down on the y-axis by hitting SY, and then I'm gonna apply the scale and apply the rotation. Now I'm gonna go to this view. I'm gonna tab into edit mode, and oh yeah, I'm in wireframe view mode too, so I can select all this. I'm hitting Shift Z to toggle in and out of wireframe mode too, by the way. And I can hit GX. And that looks pretty good. It's not the best. It does look pretty good. Now I'm going to select this clip around here, and then select the wire and hit Control J. And also, just so you know, you can make a more complicated clip, like you can make it look like a whole entire zip tie. This is just for a basic tutorial. Now right click and hit Shade Auto Smooth, because you want to get that pretty smoothness. Now make sure your scale and rotation is applied. Now hit Shift A, C, no, I won't do that. Okay, Shift A, and then go to curve here, and then I'm going to be using a bezier. If you don't know what a curve is, you can look it up online. Blender has a manual. If you don't know what that manual is, you can go to help here, and then there's also online tutorials, and there's YouTube's too, so if you want to know. That's how you learn half the stuff in Blender, just by watching YouTube's. Alright, I rotated it and applied the rotation. I'm going to select this vertice here, the segment, and hit SX0 so I can straighten it. And I'm going to just extrude it out a bit on the y-axis. And do some extruding just so I can know for sure that the wire works. Alright. That's a bit short, I believe. No, actually, the wire is really big, so let's scale it down a bit. And hit Control A S to apply the scale. Okay, let's delete that vertice. That's EY, and then I can right click and then go down to snap, and then snap selection to cursor. Alright, let's go and let's add the modifier. Select the wire, go to modifiers, and let's add an array modifier, and then go to this fit type and hit fit curve. Take the eyedropper and select the curve, and when it does this, it's set to the x-axis here, but we want it to go on the y-axis. So hit 1, and if it goes the wrong way, hit -1, and then 0. And it's not done yet. What this modifier does is it just duplicates this along a certain axis to fit the curve, which is what we need. But now we need a curve modifier. Look at this. Okay, then use the eyedropper and select the curve. And again, we want to do this on the y-axis. Okay, -y. There we go. Sometimes you just have to play with these axes until you get the right one. And here's our wire. Completely done. We can play with it some if you want. And as you can see, when we add more complexity to this wire, you can see over there that it keeps making more wire it keeps generating more wire, so it's the same length. Sometimes if you do this video, your wire might look like this instead, and if it looks like that, don't be worried. What it means is you just did the modifier in the incorrect order. That means that can mean a lot in Blender. So the array modifier needs to be on top. So you can take this little icon here and drag the array modifier up, and here we go. We have a fully functioning wire. And if you want, you can go through and add some materials. You can add red, and black wire materials. You can add like a bit of a plastic-iness for the clip. You can also use a path curve for this function as well. Path curves can be a little easier to play with sometimes. Sometimes beezers, it can take a lot of work trying to get them to function or wrap around an object. So yeah. And this is the end of the tutorial, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I'm going to do one like this but on fiber optics soon, so if you want to see that, you might want to consider subscribing. I guess I'll see you next time, and this is Riverman's 3D Art Studio.